From denying Cameron the right to defend his Players' Championship title, to forcing him to miss out on becoming the world-ranked #1, here's how Greg Norman ruined Cameron Smith's whole career. Recent events involving Greg Norman have caused many to believe that he's completely destroyed Australian golf phenom Cameron Smith's career. If you're a little late to the party, I'll explain. Norman made the decision to poach Cameron from the PGA Tour and coaxed him to join his new LIV Golf League instead. It's safe to say that not everyone was happy about this, and golf analyst Brandel Chambly was quick to hammer Greg's decision, saying, "It's ironic to me that it might possibly be an Aussie that will keep another Aussie in Cameron Smith, possibly from ascending to a spot where he's considered the greatest Australian player of all time, or could have easily supplanted Greg Norman as the second best player of all time from Australia." That's, at least in my view, where Cameron Smith was headed. So what is Brandel saying here? And more importantly, is he correct? What he's getting at is the fact that Norman decided to sign Smith for his LIV Golf Tour, backed by Saudi Arabia, which on its face doesn't seem like a massive deal, until you take a look at the consequences. By signing Norman's deal, Cameron's been banned from the PGA Tour and no longer qualifies for points in the official world golf rankings. Both of these factors are an incredibly big deal, especially considering the Australian's trajectory in recent years. At only 29 years old, Cameron was ranked #2 in the world and on track to secure world #1. He also won the title at TPC Sawgrass last year. But because of his decision to join LIV, Cameron's unable to defend his title. TPC Sawgrass even decided to take away Cameron's playing privileges and parking spot as a result of his decision to leave. Clearly, the PGA was annoyed by the Aussie's decision. As you can see, joining LIV looks like a stupid move from Cameron.
You know, my goal here is to win the FedEx Cup playoffs. That's all I'm here for. If there's something I need to say regarding the PGA Tour or LIV, it will come from Cameron Smith, not Cameron Percy.
Especially considering the fact that he's in the prime of his life. And this is exactly why Brandel made those comments. Norman single-handedly prevented the Aussie from reaching golf superstardom, ranking world #1, and potentially winning another PGA Tour. However, is it fair to put all the blame on Greg here? Saying that Greg's the only person to blame here suggests that Smith's unable to make his own decisions. A bold statement. If we look at Cameron's motives for joining LIV, we start to see why this wasn't all Greg's doing. Cameron was reportedly offered a gigantic sum of money to switch to LIV Golf. And I mean gigantic. Are you sitting down? $116 million! That's a damn good incentive to switch, don't you think? The LIV Tour is also less intense than the PGA Tour and offers its players more time off. So observers, though, argue that these financial incentives are just a cover-up for the fact that Smith's career is pretty much over. There were plenty of opinions on this floating around Twitter, with one fan writing, "Big loss, but then again, that's his career over really. No more majors anytime soon. Could have been more successful than Norman, but when you go for the money, the success doesn't really mean anything anymore." Another Twitter user wrote, "Such a shame will never be regarded as a great of the game now when history looks back. Top player, don't blame him. Probably will be the biggest paid player in the game before prize money." Cameron has addressed these allegations, confirming that the money and schedule were huge factors in his decision. Not surprisingly, this has rubbed members of the golf community the wrong way, and some have even gone so far as to call Cameron a sellout. In a recent interview, Cameron said, "I'll be able to spend more time at home in Australia, and maybe have an event down there as well. I haven't been able to do that, and to get that part of my life back was really appealing." So what's the deal with this LIV Golf Series anyway? Is it a money-grabbing tour, or is there a chance that Smith's career may be salvaged? Essentially, LIV Golf is a breakaway tour that was started by Greg Norman in an attempt to rival the PGA Tour. LIV Golf offers shorter tournaments with only 3 rounds and 48 players. On its face, the tour doesn't seem so bad. And the only real problem with LIV Golf seems to be the fact that it's disrupting the PGA Tour, a highly respected, time-honored, and established league in the game of golf, recognized at the highest level since 1929. To many, LIV Golf's completely disrespecting this PGA and everything it's done for golf since its inception. When you look at LIV's total prize purse of $25 million, combined with the fact that other star players like Phil Mickelson have been paid $200 million to compete in the tour, you start to think the only motive for players joining the tour seems to be financial. The PGA has said from the beginning that any player who leaves for LIV will face consequences, such as losing their opportunity to progress in the world rankings or competing at PGA events. To be clear though, many prominent golf enthusiasts such as former President Donald Trump have expressed a lot of support for LIV. Trump even thinks LIV will inevitably merge with the PGA and says that anyone who remains loyal to the PGA is going to pay a big price. Donald even went so far as to say that those who stay with the PGA are simply going to lose out on a whole bunch of money.
What they're doing for golf is so great. What they're doing for the players is so great. The salaries are going to go way up. The PGA was not loved by a lot of the players, as you know, for a long time. Now they have an alternative, and nobody would have ever known there was going to be a gold rush like this.
So what is Trump getting at here? Well, he's basically suggesting that LIV and the PGA will eventually team up, meaning that all the LIV players will be able to cement their legacy, while making truckloads of money at the same time. If this viewpoint is accurate, then the entire narrative might just shift, and in a few years, we could be praising Greg Norman for making Cameron's career. Also, we've already seen the PGA's rules relaxed, with a few LIV golfers being allowed to compete in the PGA Championship, such as Brendan Steele, as well as others like Phil Mickelson and Patrick Reed. However, it's unclear whether Cameron will be treated so leniently. He put the PGA in a very tough spot with his recent departure, which left a very bad taste in the PGA's mouth. So why would they ever want him back? The damage is already done, and the golf world has seen firsthand that Cameron, among other players, is more interested in money than legacy, and he's never going to be treated in quite the same way again. Cameron had the opportunity to achieve world number 1 before he was 30 years old, defend his title, but chose to listen to Greg Norman and miss out on a legacy, all for a quick buck. It's not even like he was paid badly by the PGA, further reinforcing the narrative that he's just out to get the biggest paycheck possible. Even Cameron has realized the gravity of his decision, and in a recent interview, seemed to regret his actions in light of the fact that he may not be able to play at Augusta, saying, "I'm hopeful that I'll be able to get back there. It's a place I love, and I've got a pretty good record around there too. So it would be pretty heartbreaking if I couldn't get back there." So from Smith trading his legacy for money, to preventing the Aussie from ever reaching number 1 or defending his title, that's how Greg Norman ruined Cameron Smith's career.